Damn, nothing just works out for you, bro. Your rap career failed. Your podcast is clearly failing.
Last I checked, kings don't acknowledge the peasants. But if you acknowledge the peasant, then I guess the peasant is really the king. What up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about Adin Ross's comments towards Joe Budden, where he pretty much responded to Joe Budden from his new podcast that did drop yesterday. And there was a clip of it that he responded to when he addressed Adin Ross, telling him basically, me and you ain't got nothing to talk about, kid. And here's what Adin said.
I mean, like, it makes no sense. How does that make any sense? Y'all are putting the cap while y'all are laughing, but think about it, bro. Why are you bringing me up? I respond, and now you're saying there's no reason for him and I to be in a conversation. What's the point of doing that? So if you're saying there's no point for us to talk about, what's the point of you bringing me up? What do you want to gain out of it? You want to gain something out of it, clearly. Is your podcast doing that bad? Your numbers are that bad? You need me to react to it? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure out the motive. What do you want out of this, bro? Damn, nothing just works out for you, bro. Your rap career failed. Your podcast is clearly failing.
Now, clearly, the only reason why Joe Budden even mentioned Adin Ross in this last pod is because of his response. He didn't really address your rage. He did kind of address Kai loosely. But how all this started was Joe's comments, not only to Kai Cenat, but streamers in general, which, of course, we would expect Adin Ross, Kai, and Rage to respond, the big three. He didn't directly name drop Rage or Adin. I mean, he didn't have to because he did call out the streamers. His response to Adin was clear. Me and you ain't got nothing to talk about for real. If he had to respond to Kai saying, there ain't nothing for me and Kai to talk about, then it would have been a bit of a head scratcher, but he didn't name drop Adin directly. Now, there was a bit of misinformation that Adin was spreading. He's over here trying to spread lies, insinuating that Joe Budden's rap career has been a failure. And I've said this before, if Joe Budden's rap career was a failure, then Pump It Up would have never been the hit that it was. And not to mention, the measurements for success in hip hop and rap at that time that Joe was active was very different from what it is now. In the streaming, in the era of the Spotify's and Apple Music and playlists and stuff like that, yeah, you would see him as a failure. In reality, he wasn't, because there was different measurements of success. What you would consider a failure or a flop album in terms of sales and stuff like that, first week and shit, would be considered a humongous success in the early 2000s. So if let's say if a rapper today sold 16,000 first week or 20,000 first week, that would be considered a flop to some people. But back in the early 2000s, it would be considered a huge success because, again, different measurements of success. And not only that, Joe doesn't need Adin to even give his podcast attention, because Joe Budden's pod, it does numbers. It is a successful podcast. He makes millions off of it. And this isn't me dick riding. This is me speaking fucking facts. I only point that out because anytime you point out a fact, people swear you're dick riding. See, here was the stats of the Joe Budden podcast from last year. Reached over 223 countries, 688 total videos, 345,609 shares, over 2 million likes, well, almost 3 million likes. Over 33 million hours watched, over 129 million views, and over 1 billion impressions. If streamers would look at them type of numbers and still somehow try to paint a narrative that the Joe Budden podcast is a failure, then I would like to see what you call success. But I have to remind myself, we live in an era where you got some people who have a big head and an inflated ego who think if you're not outdoing me and my numbers, you're a failure, which is weird. And my thing about this is, if Adin thinks he's so high and mighty and above Joe Budden, then why even give him attention? If you think you're better off than him, why even respond to a merely peasant? Last I checked, kings don't acknowledge the peasants. But if you acknowledge the peasant, then I guess the peasant is really the king. And the funniest thing I find about this is that the streamers will only respond to the negative opinions that Joe Budden or others may have of them. But anytime they get bigged up or praised, they go mum's the word.
They love that white boy. I don't know enough about him to have an opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. Who
I don't know. I heard the name, but
I know he's getting a bunch of money.
Very popular streamer. That's all. That's the extent of my Adin Ross
That's the dude that
knowledge.
What I'm learning
that
about.
said he made more. Pardon me, guys.
Go ahead.
They said that he made more money last year than LeBron from just LeBron's basketball contract.
What I'm learning about these streamers is kind of what I told y'all about the podcast. Like, it's that culture is so big that whatever you into, there's a market for it. It could be out there saying the most outlandish, wild shit that you wouldn't even think nobody would say. It's a lot of people in the country that want. It's like Trump.
No,
Like somebody gets up. Not saying Adin Ross. I don't know anything about him, but just streamers. You could be like, yo, why would anybody listen to what XYZ is saying? It's millions of people that want to hear this shit.
True.
And because nobody else is doing it, once they come out and do it, people gonna flood to it.
But that's a clip that they won't react to because they'll only give the negative opinions the attention. But anytime they get bigged up, they're not going to acknowledge it. If you're going to give any type of negative opinion about you the limelight, then you might as well give them the limelight when they're bigging you up as well. But y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Till next time, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.